story of Islam begins in the 6th century in the arid Arabian Peninsula. Now, we think of the desert as an inhospitable place where nothing grows, but at that moment, it was a bustling region for trade, a key area in the route between Asia and Europe. People of all backgrounds and beliefs traveled constantly across the Arabian desert, either in small nomadic tribes or commercial caravans. Rich cities emerged from the desert, mostly in the coastal areas such as Mecca and Medina. It was in the Arabian cities that travelers and merchants met and shared their stories and beliefs. Arab polytheism, the dominant belief system, was based on the belief in several deities and other supernatural beings such as jinn. Gods and goddesses were worshipped at local shrines, such as the Kaaba in Mecca. The Kaaba was especially sacred to many people because it was believed to have been built by Abraham himself, the patriarch of the Jews, and a holy man for Christians and later Muslims. According to tradition, an angel descended from heavens, bringing him a black stone, which he placed in a sacred spot in the city of Mecca and built a shrine around it. This very shrine is now visited by millions of Muslims every single year. One of the major cultures that dominated the Arabian Peninsula just before the rise of Islam was that of the nomadic Bedouin people. The polytheistic Bedouin clans were organized in clans or extended families, with each clan clustered under tribes. Every immediate family shared one tent, which was easily dismounted when the elders of the clan decided to change locations. Many of these tents and their associated familiar relations comprised a tribe. Arab society was patriarchal, meaning inheritance was passed from fathers to sons. Tribes proved a means of protection for its members. In the event that any one clan member was killed by an outsider, the whole clan was prepared for brutal retaliation. Non-members of the tribe were viewed as outsiders or enemies. Tribes shared common ethical understandings and provided an individual with an identity. Warfare between tribes was common among the Bedouin, and warfare was given a high honor. This explains the difficulties that the Prophet Muhammad faced when trying to unite all the tribes under one God. At the time of Muhammad, the shrine of the Kaaba was home to 360 idols of different religions. The chief god in Arabia was Hubal, the Syrian god of the moon. The three daughters of Hubal were the chief goddesses of Meccan Arabian mythology: Al-Lat, Al-Uzza, and Manat. Al-Lat was the goddess associated with the underworld. Al-Uzza, the mightiest one, was the goddess of fertility and warfare, and Manat was the goddess of fate. Muhammad, who was born in the year 570 in Mecca, was taught to worship these goddesses, among other deities. And for the first 40 years of his life, this is exactly what he did, unaware of the plans God had for him. He was part of a wealthy merchant family, the Banu Hashim clan belonging to the Quraysh tribe. The Quraysh were a well-respected, prominent family in Mecca. However, Muhammad's earliest childhood was spent in the desert in the care of a foster family. Important families from the time used to send their children into the desert because it was considered to be a much healthier environment than the city. Muhammad's father, Abdullah, had died before he was born, and he lost his mother Amina at the age of 6. From that moment on, he was raised by his uncle, Abu Talib, who was appointed the new leader of the Banu Hashim clan. Abu Talib was a good man and was known to everyone for his honesty and integrity. He also was a gifted poet. He gave Muhammad a good education and taught him to love his peers and protect his community. Muhammad grew up to become a highly trusted man in Mecca. He usually accompanied his uncle on trading journeys to Syria, gaining experience in commercial trade, which was the only career open to him as an orphan. He started working as a trader for an older widow named Khadija, and eventually he married her in the year 595 at the age of 25. The marriage lasted for 25 years and was a happy one. During all the time Muhammad was married to Khadija, he did not marry another woman, although it was common for Arabs to have multiple wives. When Muhammad was 12 years old, while accompanying a caravan to Syria, he met a Christian monk named Bahira, who is said to have foreseen Muhammad's career as a prophet of God. From that moment on, Muhammad would pray for hours, often retreating to a cave on Mount Hira for several nights. During these nights of contemplation and reflection, he would occasionally have prophetic dreams full of spiritual significance. At the cave, he renounced all the gods except Allah, one of the principal deities in the Arab pantheon. One night, during his sleep, he was visited by Archangel Gabriel, who confirmed to him, God is one. Then Muhammad received the first revelation when the Archangel Gabriel gave him the first verses of the Quran, the sacred book of God. Muhammad later told Khadija that he was neither surprised nor scared of Gabriel, but what was the message he had given him? He gave Muhammad a life mission to spread the word of Allah, the one true God, among the population of the world. And he also gave him the main precepts of the religion of Allah, which came to be known as Islam. Islam is based on 5 principles or pillars which are sacred and cannot be violated. Believers in Allah must first acknowledge that He is the one God and Muhammad is the messenger. Second, there is a salat or prayer which is a mandatory 5 times a day. Third, every Muslim or follower of Islam must be charitable, helping others who are enduring hardships and sharing their wealth. The fourth pillar is the fasting, which is done in the month of Ramadan to show gratitude to Allah. And the fifth is the pilgrimage to Mecca. Every Muslim must make a journey to Mecca at least once in their life and then has to walk around the Kaaba 7 times and touch the black stone. Gabriel considered that the message of Allah was too heavy for men to incorporate at once, so he recited the whole Quran to Muhammad gradually. Over a period of 23 years, Muhammad received the visitations of Gabriel, where he was taught the word of God piece by piece. Muhammad's wife, Khadija, was the first to believe he was a prophet. She was followed by Muhammad's 10-year-old cousin, Ali ibn Abi Talib, close friend Abu Bakr, and adopted son Zayd. Around 613, Muhammad began to preach to the public. Most Meccans ignored and mocked him, but he did begin to gain followers. There were 3 main groups of early converts to Islam: younger brothers and sons of great merchants, people who had fallen out of the first rank in their tribe or failed to attain it, and the weak, mostly unprotected foreigners. The pagan priests became angry at Muhammad when they saw their congregations slowly disappear in favor of the new religion of Islam. Muhammad was ridiculed by the local elite at Mecca and even received criticism from his own people, the Qurayshi tribe. The tribe of Quraysh was concerned with what they believed were the ramblings of a strange member who spent time inside a cave and talked to supernatural beings. But mostly they were offended because they guarded the Kaaba and drew their political and religious power from its polytheistic shrines. The ruling tribes of Mecca perceived Muhammad as a danger to their lifestyle. The powerful merchants in Mecca attempted to convince Muhammad to abandon his preaching by offering him admission into the inner circle of merchants and an advantageous marriage. However, Muhammad turned down both offers. He knew he and his followers were in danger if he remained in Mecca.